scheduled meeting, ESD 5 to order. Let the record show that we do have a quorum. That Mr. C, Mr. Lehman, and Mr. Griffin are present. We do have an established quorum. Please stand for invocation. Lord Father, thank you for getting us here safe today. Please continue to look over our first responders. Thank you for the great weather we had this weekend for our peanut festival and all the success that had. Guide us in the business of ESD 5. In your name we pray.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Under the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Do you have any citizen comments? All right, we'll move to consent agenda. Review and approve meeting minutes from 9/13/22.
I don't know. Can we do that, Tom, since I'm the only one who was here at the last meeting?
Sure.
Yeah.
Push can.
Yeah.
Tell the city that.
Huh?
Tell the city that. We can't.
Oh, no, you can't.
You were looking at them and you can certify them, the other guys can take your word for it.
I move that we approve them as written.
Abstain and y'all can wait.
I move they approved as written.
A motion has been made by Mr. C, seconded by Mr. Yale, to approve the minutes as presented. Any further discussion?
Sure.
All those in favor? Aye. Audit reports review and approval of, if applicable, she's not here. She did send us a financial for us to look at.
So when she sent this out, I had some questions because the way she, I think I said, right, I sent the reply to all, I think on the email, because it shows basically like we're had 152,000 still left after everything, but my comment was that we still haven't, there's still the money in here that we agreed to pay out of here for the parking lot project. So, and she said, I mean, I'm not sure since she's not here.
So, yes, from what I understand is being that that's going to be charged after the budget, so that what we had budgeted will go
into the thing, and then
our rebudgeted money will pay for that.
well, she said that they actually can have the auditor, or
Yes.
when they come to do the audit, we
Right.
can actually pull it and move it so that it won't have to come out of the money we already have set for this coming year. Because that was my concern, that would have put us really behind the 8 ball if we had to pay out of next year's budget.
Well, I can tell you that one of the invoices for approval tonight is actually one invoice from the driveway. They've already sent us one.
How much is on
And
it?
it was for
The
the bulk
big
of it
piece,
because
yeah.
they did like 70% of it in that first phase.
Yeah.
And the only one she was saying that they would have to basically have the auditor adjust was the money for the truck, the command truck.
Right, that one,
Because
yeah.
that was budgeted
2 years ago.
a year ago, last year's budget, and it just came out this year.
Yeah,
So
there
that'll
will
make
be some
that amount
adjustments
go back up.
made.
Right, yeah.
And I haven't said it yet.
So all in all, though, we'll end up with pretty much 52,000 left over
From last year's.
Right.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. All right, any further discussion on the item B? All right, move on to item C, review and approve invoices submitted for payment.
Okay. So you've got 34 that need to be ratified and 12 that need approval for payment.
34 have already been approved, correct?
Yeah. They're the debit card purchasing.
Did anybody else agree that on this reconciliation report that Brenda does, that if it wouldn't be a tremendous amount of work for her, is it possible for her to put in the line items from the budget that these come out of?
The account number basically is what you want, correct?
Yeah, the budget.
The budget
Just
account
budget
number,
line number,
yeah.
yeah. You didn't really vote on anything, but he just asked you.
All good? I'll make the motion that to ratify the 34 and approval for the 12.
Second motion.
Motion's been made by Mr. Roach and seconded by Mr. C to ratify the 34 and approve the 12 items for payment. Any further discussion?
No, sir.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. All right, new business. Item 8, report from fire chief for days needed by career. Current status of department personnel discussion specifically related to staffing. Request for approval to purchase certain equipment, airbags, a washer, dryer, station, and updates on previous authorized purchases. Possible action to follow.
Alright, so for last month, we had a total of 63 calls. 17 of those were fires, 33 were assisting EMS, wrecks, all of the usual. Then the one hazardous condition, no fire. I don't remember exactly what that call was. I think it may have been probably the power line, the down power line. 4 good intent calls and 7 false alarms. I'm trying to get back to doing my PowerPoint for the reports, but right now I'm currently got a computer that does not want to cooperate with me when getting my Office subscription reactivated. So as soon as I can get that working, I'll get back to doing that. Outside of that, that's all we've got for the report as far as the department. All the trucks are still in service. We don't have any that are down. Everything's working well. I think we kind of got the little bit of a break, so that kind of gave all the trucks a break to where we haven't been having any major issues. As far as for the stuff that I was going to talk to y'all about with the staffing, it was in the budget to increase staffing, which is going to be hiring 3 more, so 1 per shift. One of the spots we've already got somebody for. We're interviewing for the second one tomorrow. And then the 3rd spot, we're giving one of the volunteers a little bit of time to get his stuff done. And once he gets his stuff done and passed, he'll fill that 3rd spot. And then also too, the other thing will be getting ready to do all the evaluations so we can do raises for the 3 guys that have been here already. And then that way it'll create a gap, I guess, a wage gap between the different ranks on the shifts. And then the next thing I was going to talk to y'all about, I talked to y'all
On that, how are we advertising, or how are you soliciting for these additional people?
normally it would go on TCFP, but this last time around it was more word of mouth.
Where you had people that...
Yeah, we already had quite a few people that were looking from the last time around that we did a hiring process, so that was kind of reaching back out to a lot of those and saying, hey, are you still interested? Because we're filling spots again. And that was kind of how we did it this time around. I know I brought it up to y'all last meeting. We were talking about the airbags because of the fact that all the ones that we currently have are outdated and they're starting to split and fail. So I have a quote here for replacement airbags. That's everything we need. That'll give us above and beyond what we had before. And it'll just get us up to date on those airbags to where when we need them, we have them, and we have a set that we know is not going to fit. Because like I said, we had one bag that was in the truck that already split on one seam, and then another one that split while they were doing training. I'm glad it failed then and not when we really needed it.
So
I had money budgeted already for small tools and equipment, and I was going to use it for rescue equipment. At the time when I budgeted that money, I didn't foresee this happening, but this will still leave me some in that line item for additional stuff throughout the year.
do you know right off what you was budgeted for that?
I budgeted 25 for small tools and equipment, so
Okay.
this will leave right around 10,000 left in there for any other things that may need to be bought or replaced.
How old were the other bags? Pretty old, right?
Well, after doing some research with like NFPA stuff when it comes to rescue tools, rescue equipment, they're supposed to have the manufacturer's name and the date of manufacturer imprinted in the bag. And the bags we have, the only thing they had on them was the manufacturer's name. They didn't even have a date imprinted in the rubber. So that tells me they're probably a good 20 plus years old.
I would say so.
Yeah. And
I would say so.
by NFPA, those bags are only good for 15 years.
In ideal conditions, probably.
Yeah. But due to the fact that we already had two that, or one that was splitting and a second one that failed, we pulled all of them off the truck and currently do not have any airbags on the truck. I've let our neighboring departments know that if we need airbags, we're going to be calling because we don't have a functioning set at the moment.
What's the ETA of receiving them?
I think the last time I was talking to him, he was saying, I think at the most, we'd be looking at maybe 8 weeks. Hopefully not much longer than that.
Mr. Gripper, what do you think as far as something as a priority?
I love airbags.
That's what I was gonna think.
When we need them, we need them.
It's better to have them
And
and
then
not.
low pressure
Yeah.
airbag is very handy.
Yeah, because all of those,
You see
it's
that?
a total of 6. There's 3 different sizes. They range from a 12-ton lifting bag all the way up to a 32-ton lifting bag. And like I said, that's the entire setup. That's the bags, the control kit that has all the regulators and hoses and everything. And it's the nice thing about that master control package is it has everything in it that we need to where I don't have to worry about trying to find other stuff. And it comes in a Pelican case, so everything's going to be protected. And they're also included basically an aluminum box that they're going to build that when we get the bags, we can mount that in the compartment to where the bags have a place to sit. And they're not just sitting on the shelf bouncing around.
Well, the hardest part is finding a place for that box.
We're pretty sure it's going to fit in that one compartment because that compartment's a pretty good size. We may even be able to hang it from the shelf. And
Do any of these bags look like a bonsai ball? You know what a bonsai ball is? It's a flat-sided workout ball.
Oh yeah, no, they're all going to be square ones. I would like to get a couple of those bigger because those are the big. I think those are like the 70 and up.
No, they're little.
Yeah.
They're able to go under stuff to get you started.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're rated for more weight as well.
Yes. So, but anyway, okay. No, I agree. I mean, they're very handy and they're easy and they're fast to deploy. So,
And the good thing about these is the old set we had to run off of a 2216 bottle because they were a different pressure side bag versus these will be able to run off of our 4,500 PSI bottles.
yeah.
So,
Well, your regulator should take care of all that. Should.
yeah. Well, that's part of with that master control kit that comes with all that to where we won't have to carry 2 different PSI bottles to run the airbags.
So 9/14 date on this, shouldn't see much difference in if we order it now.
The quotes are normally good for 30 days. And if it gets approved, I'll be calling them tomorrow and saying, hey, let's move forward.
I'll make a motion that we authorize chief to make the purchase on the airbags as the quoted here, not to exceed 16,000.
I'll second the motion.
Motion made by Mr. C and seconded by Mr. Rocha to authorize the chief to make the purchase on the quote submitted on airbags, rescue equipment. Any further discussion on that?
No, sir.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0.
Alright. And the last thing I was going to talk to y'all about was a washer and dryer. An actual like regular washer and dryer. I know y'all already had approved the gear extractor and that, but that's just strictly for the bunker gear, and it's not recommended for the guys to wash uniforms, bedding, whatever else in it. So due to the way that bathroom is set up, I have to do a stacked unit, and that gives us a full-size washer and a full-size dryer versus buying a, I guess, apartment-size washer and dryer that you can barely fit 2 or 3 pairs of anything in. And that would be, that quote, or that basically the shopping cart from when I did it on Lowe's website includes everything we need for, that's the cord, the hoses, everything. So that shouldn't exceed that because we do have our tax exempt. I do have a tax exempt set up at Lowe's. So I should be right around that $1,900 mark for
Electric,
everything.
gas, or
All electric.
Have we checked locally or not?
I haven't, because last time I tried at Hellsher's, they don't carry that washing machine.
They don't carry a stackable washing machine?
I can try and see, but that one is one solid piece.
I get it.
It comes together as one piece versus if I go through Hellsher's, I'd have to buy the washer and dryer separately, and then essentially we put them together.
So, when we build the expansion, is that still gonna stay here, or is that?
Yeah,
something
all of
we're
that
gonna-
stuff is gonna stay down in
What it is?
that basically utility room.
Okay.
Because the plan is that room that they're currently using as a bedroom is gonna become our storeroom for all of our extra gear and equipment and tools and stuff like that. That's what that was the intention when we originally built it, was it'll be a temporary quarters for them to have a place to stay. And then once we build the new building, that's gonna get converted into basically our gear room, because it's actually attached to the utility room. So we'll be able to, say somebody leaves, we can throw their gear in there, wash it, dry it and everything, and then hang it up and put it back into inventory. Or we get somebody new comes along, we go in there, grab their gear and issue it to them. And we just have all of our, because right now we're using this little bitty closet essentially that's right here in the corner. That's where all of our extra gear and everything is in, and it's almost busting at the seams already.
I see on the invoice that it's available, so they have it on hand.
Yeah.
It's nothing we have to order.
No. Because I did that today so I could get a price. Because I know last time I went to Hellsher's and talked to them, they told me they didn't carry any stacked units. And their prices sometimes are a little bit higher.
I see you checked store pickup, so we'd be picking it up.
Yeah. I would essentially go pick it up and bring it. We would install it.
In what area of the budget is it?
That
Pull this
one-
out of?
That one would come out of station supplies.
Yeah.
Which
It could come out of a few different items
yeah.
as far as that goes. It
Yeah.
could actually come out of like personal protective equipment, could come out of, 'cause even though, so it could come out of a few different things.
Zero 10-330-003 supplies.
Yeah,
Yep.
fire station.
Yeah, it's in the fire
different
station
stuff.
supplies. Okay.
I'll make the motion, we proceed in purchasing the stackable washer and dryer from Lowe's for, I think it was what?
Basically 2,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, that way we can make sure
It
it
was
was something
19.
else. So
19.
Not to exceed $2,000.
Yeah.
I second.
Motion been made by Mr. Rocha, second by Mr. C to allow the chief to purchase washer and dryer as presented with a max of 2,000. Any further discussion on that?
No, sir.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0.
That's all I have for my part.
So, A, we've taken care of E. B, update, discussion, and possible action concerning parking lot, contract parking lot remodel.
They're gonna be pouring that last piece Thursday, and then after that, once it sets up and they do what they need to do, they'll come back, and after that, they'll essentially be done.
And
Just want to ask, was anything for like curbs? I know it's a
Yes,
rate
that's
curb
the
out
last
there.
I think that they're gonna do is, once it's all done, they'll come back and they're gonna put curb stops in each one of those parking spots. And, then they'll have to just finish the striping. Cause on that last end down there, they're only gonna stripe that one bay. They won't stripe the other one because that's where all the gym equipment's at. But the poles will be painted just like the rest of them were.
That looks pretty good. That's a big difference in the terms of the station.
Oh, yeah, looks good.
An amazing difference.
All right, no action on B. Item C, update, discussion, and possible action related to bids received for station expansion project.
Alright, so after they came out and did the site visit, they, after doing their, I guess, figuring out their numbers as far as measurements go, if they tie into the existing building, by the time, with the amount of fall that they need, even if they do like a 12-on-1 or a 12-on-2, by the time they get out to the far end of the building, where essentially the bedrooms would be, the height of the inside would end up being like 4 or 5 feet. So they made the recommendation of detaching it from the building and just not even attaching it, so it'd be a standalone building, which essentially is what it was gonna be before. It was just gonna be tied in to kind of make it look like it was one big building. But, so they recommended moving it out 4 feet away from the building and just putting a gap in between there, which would have been perfect because then it would kind of given us a little like a mechanical yard for them to do air conditioning and all that stuff. Well, then after talking to the city, the problem with detaching it and pushing it away from the building, our building will end up right over the top of the main line running from their well to the water tower, which could be very bad in the future if that line was to break.
Sure.
So the last drawing that I just handed you, that was their last recommendation of basically taking that building and turning it 90 degrees. Because then that actually puts the narrower part in, and we measured it out, it will still fit. All it did was they turned it 90 degrees. And then like Donald was saying before the meeting started, that he put on there a possible, like a breezeway type hallway thing to tie that building to this building. That would be an additional cost. He couldn't give an exact number. I think he was ballparking in and around probably 20 to 25,000 to basically make the tie-in. Or
So basically, in cold weather or rain, whatever, you can get from this building to that building without going out of the...
exactly, which,
Yeah.
and at this point, I'm gonna advocate for the guys because, like I said, they're living in that little bitty room right now. And it's getting tough because that little air conditioner, I mean, it's working, but I think the biggest problem we're having is it has to run so much that it's constantly got moisture in it and we're having issues. It's really tough keeping it clean, and it's just trying to get this project started because I think it's something that's we've been discussing this for what, going on almost 2 years now, trying to get this built.
And as far as the company, it's very reputable. They've got several
Yeah,
projects
we
they
all-
built in the area here that have all...
Yeah,
You know,
they built the Wilson County Health Building that's right across the street from the post office.
Yeah, that's supposed to help.
They built Karnes County EMS's and County Commissioner's new building that they're in. Of course, that was built in 2015, so they've been in it for a couple of years. But
So this-
everybody I've talked to said that they're,
So will they readjust the bid, or how will that, how legally is that gonna work? Or what do we need wording wise that, you know, since it was,
Well, what he told me with just turning the building 90 degrees, that wouldn't affect the price. Is
okay,
what he told me and Donald that day we met with him.
okay.
But in actuality, it would make it cheaper.
Yeah. He
Because-
actually said because not having to get
Tie
tie
into
into the
this.
new building, that eliminates a lot of the unknowns of
Sure.
what
Tying
happens
into the
when.
roof up there to make sure you got a
Yes.
seamless, leak-free.
The only thing that would be an additional cost is if we wanted to do that little breezeway.
But if it would make it cheaper and then add that, so it'd almost be a wash.
Possibly, yes.
I mean, you know, you couldn't really paint him into a corner to
No,
say,
no,
you know,
yeah.
with the
No, I get
prices
it.
and stuff the way they are today, he wasn't
Yeah.
gonna say, you know, that he can do it for that same amount. But even if he did it exactly as we had it drawn up before, he would, probably wouldn't be able to say that.
Yeah, that was the biggest. His recommendation after with the original idea of tying into the existing building, he basically said when y'all talk about it, he said my recommendation would be is okay, this is what we originally bid, but my professional recommendation would be is give yourself a little bit of cushion and approve some more because we never know what we're going to run into
Oh, yeah.
when we get into a
Yeah.
30-something-year-old building. Especially when he's talking about that they'd have to remove a pretty good portion of the roof to tie into it and then get everything lined back up correctly and laps and all that to keep it from leaking.
Sure.
But now that we're, like I said, I think the only issue we're going to run into with turning the building is we'll have to get Phelps to move that one power pole. But Phelps is going to have to come out and upgrade our service anyway. So I think while they're here doing that, we can get them to move that.
Well, that's all something that this contractor takes care of. That's nothing we do.
Yeah.
Contractor takes care of all of that. Did y'all approve this last?
No,
No, we did not.
got tabled.
He got tabled so they had a site visit, so we would be comfortable that it wasn't gonna
Tom, on
be.
these, on projects like this where do they have to approve it at that bid amount or can they say, okay, we're gonna add a little bit extra for cushion just in case?
No, you can, you just have to accept the bid, and it's understood that it's gonna
There's always a
potentially move from there, might be a little less, might be a little more. Gotta say, we're gonna go ahead and accept the bid, North Star.
Do you have that bid? Or
It's here somewhere.
What is the name of the company, North Star what?
North Star,
to get the wording right?
I got it.
here it is. North Star Elite Construction and Consulting.
What did they say would be the time frame, Chief?
Well, with the original bid, they would have already started by now, and they were talking being done by March. So it would kind of be, if once it's approved and I call them and say, okay, we're good to go, they can readjust their timeline and give us a idea of when they can start and when they'll be done.
No, I saw on there because we had pretty much agreed with him that owner would remove the overhead out there now, the current patio cover.
Patio.
Yeah, we're going to take care of that.
Okay, what about the concrete that's down there?
That was never.
Discussed,
That would
right?
be actually with turning the building. I don't even think that would really even matter anymore because it would be. They'll essentially just butt up to it.
All it says is removal of roof
Yeah.
tile.
Yep.
So this previous bid didn't change much from this 439,000?
No, he said with turning the building, it actually would keep it the same or possibly make it less because of the fact that you don't have all the extra unknowns with tying into a 30-plus-year-old, or however old this building is.
So I guess that was my question, is do we approve it as the bid is written?
Did they submit anything to you that modified this original bid?
Only thing they submitted was a modified drawing.
And that's a,
It's the same exact building, all they did was rotate it at 90 degrees.
Okay. They haven't substantially modified the bid.
No.
And it doesn't matter if they did or not. I mean, we asked them to come out. We asked them to do a site visit.
and they did it, and they're
They made this recommendation to try to stay within the bid.
yeah.
Parameters.
Right.
If they came back in another 200,000 higher or something like that, we might go back to the drawing board with the rest of the items. But if y'all are satisfied with what you've been told after their site visit, there's nothing stopping you from proceeding.
Yeah, we can accept the bid as presented, correct?
I make the motion that we accept the bid from North Star Elite Construction and Consulting for
$439,917.
$439,917.
I'll second the motion. So y'all, you're happy with, I should have asked that before.
Yes. Out of all of them,
Too
we
late
reviewed
now, right?
all of them. This was the one that, like I said, we did a lot of research. Me and the rest of the guys have done a lot of research on all these different companies, and this one, like I said, was the most reputable one that had a lot of, and I went and talked to a couple of people that have used them, and they didn't have anything bad to say about them. I mean, the biggest thing I heard was the oversight, which oversight's not going to be a problem for us because we're here every single day. And by the time they're done with this building, they're going to probably be ready to get off of this property.
And he said too that he had little concerns about permitting or something. I don't know.
Last
And
time,
then you told him that,
it's all,
Yeah, we
that's
may-
all good.
Let me get with me.
yeah. We told him we weren't concerned with it.
Yeah.
He was satisfied with that.
But once we accept this, that all of that's on him.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
But that's why he was asking those questions.
All right, a motion is made by Mr. C and seconded by Mr. Arocha to accept North Star's Elite Construction and Consulting on station renovation and build for the amount of $439,917. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor of accepting bid as presented? Raise your right hand. Motion carries 3-0.
Congratulations, Aaron. You got a building. In theory. In theory.
Yeah.
Now we gotta find it.
Yeah.
We gotta get that going. Let's see, item C.
At least now that we know what we're working with financially wise, now we can make some educated decisions on
Yeah.
how to do it.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and skip D and go to E real quick, because I think D and F kind of tie together. Tie those together. Item E, discussion of possible action related to having an election in May of 2023 to get voter approval in district to receive sales tax. Have we met with ESD4 at all to discuss this with them?
No, honestly, we had just asked Tom to look up as much information on this because none of us had any idea on how this worked.
All right, so I don't really want to use the word table, but how can I postpone the action on this just till we find more information?
Table the item. I mean, if y'all want, we have it next month. But the key is, I was instructed to bring y'all some information, which
Yeah.
I've done.
Yep.
We're not done. Okay.
But y'all's deadline to get this thing done for spring is ticking.
Yes.
So, I've also been instructed to present the same information to the board. Another 2 weeks. But, the sense I got of it was that, especially if you look at the second page of that, the approximate cost of this thing, if only one district has an election, they pay all of that. If both of y'all have an election, then y'all
Right.
cost share.
What's the result of that? For both of us? Is it one or the other? Is it,
Right at the bottom on the second page in bold, you can read it. gotta come up with an agreement in advance on how y'all would allocate. A little bit of thinking, still got a lot more planning to do on it.
Sure. So do we need a vote to table it, or can we just table it?
It's up to y'all, I mean, we can bring it, present it next month. I'll just make sure of it. I would be happy if you guys, if you want to table it, that's fine, just take the minutes that I've given y'all with that information, maybe one-on-onesies, call me up and I'll discuss it. Because one of those documents is titled Important 2023 Election Dates.
Yeah. And maybe instead of actually doing a vote to table it, maybe if we do a vote to continue to look into it, not saying we are or we're not gonna do it, but.
Well, tabling it ties us to making a decision next month.
No, just put it on, it's just an item.
Just an item on the, so it's, I guess it's,
6 of 1, half of
yeah,
1.
so. All right, so item E, we're gonna table till further, or till next, be an agenda item for next meeting,
Okay.
till we can gather more information.
That's fine.
With that being said, I don't know who can make their meeting and chit chat with them.
Their meeting will be the 25th.
You know, to kind of get, because I'm sure that their wordings look similar to ours. Okay.
Pretty close.
Yeah, pretty close. Okay. All right. Item D, discussion possible action related to established performance reviews for the fire chief. And the reason I said tie this to F, because I think we do need to have some type of the workshop and stuff that for long-term goals, and I think part of that performance review needs to be where are we headed long-term? So, not where we've been, but also where we're going. So, but anyway, discussion and possible action related to establishing performance reviews for the fire chief. Y'all have any ideas on that? Or?
So then,
You said you had gotten from another ESD, right?
Yes.
What they went by.
Yes. And I mean, we can look at some of that stuff, what others do or look at, or the questions they ask. You know, but it is something that I think we need to do at least annually, if not biannually.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I think it's a good thing for the chief out of himself to know
Sure.
where he's at,
Yeah.
where we're thinking.
yeah, so I recommend at least biannually.
So he knows, hey, am I doing right? Am I doing wrong? What do I need to change? What do I need to do?
Because doing it at least
Focus on
biannually
or
gives them an
something.
opportunity to work on anything that potentially is, brought up.
Anything that we give them.
Annually is pretty much, here it is,
right. So,
Jeff, I assume you voted yes on that tabling?
I wasn't here for no vote. I haven't voted for it.
Okay. Did y'all even vote on the item? Did y'all table the election item?
yes.
I thought you did.
Yes.
I thought he was sitting right there when you did it.
There wasn't
Did-
a vote, he just tabled it.
Do I need to vote on it?
He said it didn't matter.
Okay, well, don't worry about it.
so it's something you'd want to like clump together in
I
a
would-
workshop to do the,
I think we need to sit down and kind of work through that whole process and tie it to our next process too.
for our long-term goals and,
Yeah, where this is outside of our regular meeting,
right.
basically.
Mhm.
I know it's hard enough getting this together once a month, but I think if we do both of these, it'll help us significantly.
Yeah.
So I think we've come a long way from when we started. You know? So now I think it might be a little simpler to have where our path, where we need to go, what we need to do.
Yeah.
We've updated a lot of equipment, we've got
Set
personnel.
our priorities.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, really just look at where do we want to be in 5 years? Where do we want to be in 10 years?
so their meeting is on the 25th?
Yes, sir. 2 weeks from tonight.
I'm available.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't go then. I won't be
Yeah.
there.
What time, is their meeting at 6 too?
Post City Hall.
Both.
Yeah.
City Hall.
At both at 6?
City Hall.
both.
Okay. Is there any way we can set something for like 7
After their meeting?
for us? I mean, as a workshop type deal?
I'm
You know, that way if we do want to go down there and speak to them, that gives us an hour to do something there, but then to have basically a workshop to do,
We gotta,
to set that timeline on D and then possibly F.
we need a limit to no more than 2 of us at their meeting.
Oh, no, we can't have more than 2 of us.
Sure you can.
We can't?
Of course you can.
Oh, okay.
Can 2 of you go to HEB at the same time?
Not
Well,
discuss
3 of
business.
us.
3 of us go to HEB at the same time?
Not discuss
We
business.
can. Can we sit at the restaurant on the same table?
Yes. We can do all of that.
It's better not to.
All rules are they're not as restrictive as you think. But you can't sit there and talk about this election
Yeah.
over dinner at HEB
Right.
when you're gonna vote on it
Right.
next
Right.
month's meeting.
Yeah.
But yes, there's nothing prohibiting you from going there to discuss with ESD4 what their intentions might be.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so item D, would we want to set a time on the 25th to have a workshop at 7 PM? Y'all be okay with that?
I won't be
I'm
here the
good.
25th, so.
Okay.
I won't be able to attend it either, because I'll be at their meeting.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, a workshop, do we, because we don't have to keep minutes,
Yeah.
do we, from a workshop?
We do gotta keep minutes, but
I mean, if we are publicly announcing something that y'all are all gonna sit
yeah,
in session.
we can keep minutes.
We'll do something.
If you're gonna discuss election items, I kinda need you.
No. The item D, we're
We're still
performance
long-term
review of the
goals
chief
and chief's evaluation.
and then possibly F, when we get to F, tie that into the workshop also
Okay.
on the long-term planning and goals for the district.
Okay.
If nothing else, just to start the discussion. All right, so on item D, let's set something for 10:25. 7 p.m.
Adam, would you be able to be at that too? Because I definitely want your input
Is this
on it,
gonna
especially we
take
do
care of
long-term
item F
goals
as
now.
well, basically?
Well, I'm hoping it does.
Yeah.
So you're, okay.
Yeah,
That's all I wanted to do is just set up a discussion.
Yeah.
At least start putting some stuff on paper about where we want to be.
yes, Tom.
Okay.
So item D and F will be discussed at that workshop.
So
And as long as we have a quorum, I mean,
Yep.
we gotta get the ball moving
Yeah.
on some of that.
All right, are y'all setting something through action right now?
Yeah, so I'll make a motion that we set a workshop for October 25th at 7 o'clock to discuss the establishing a performance review for the fire chief and beginning work on a long-term planning goals for the district.
I'll second the motion.
Motion been made by Mr. C and second by Mr. Rocha to set a workshop to discuss the performance review for the fire chief and also a workshop on long-term planning goals for the district for October 25th at 7 p.m. Any further
Where's
discussion?
that at? Is it gonna be here?
Here.
Here.
Any further discussion on that? All those in favor?
You're good with
Aye.
that?
Vote.
Is that 3-0 or 4-0?
4.
Well,
All right, item F, we tied to that. At 6:51, we have a motion to adjourn.
so moved.
All right, meeting adjourned at 6:51.
Maybe just in time.
So just before you